Everyone thought Daniel had it, a land empire worth millions, a glamorous girlfriend by his side, and a life most people could only dream of. But behind the wealth and the luxury, a question kept haunting him. Did anyone truly love him for who he was? Or was it all just for his money? And so, one reckless idea struck him. He would pretend to be paralyzed wheelchair-bound, unable to walk or live the same dazzling life. He would see who stayed, and who walked away. Daniel had no idea that this risky test would shatter his world, expose heartbreaking truths, and lead him to an unexpected love story that would change his life forever. Daniel Morgan was a 34-year-old self-made millionaire in New York City. His life was a blur of meetings, luxury parties, expensive cars, and high-rise living. He had built his tech company from scratch, earned the respect of Wall Street, and even made headlines as one of the youngest millionaires in the country. But despite the glamorous exterior, Daniel's heart often felt empty. His parents had passed away years ago, leaving him with fortune but little family. Friends surrounded him, but they came and went, depending on what he could provide. Deep inside, he longed for someone who would love him, not for his money, not for his reputation, but simply for him. Daniel's girlfriend, Vanessa Hayes, was a stunning socialite. She had been with him for almost a year. Tall, elegant, with glossy black hair and a perfect smile, she was the kind of woman who drew attention wherever she went. At every gala, every charity dinner, every public appearance, she was always right there by Daniel's side, looking like the perfect partner. But Daniel noticed the little things. How Vanessa rolled her eyes when he canceled a dinner to finish a project. How she spent hours shopping with his credit card, but rarely asked how his day had been. How she seemed most affectionate when cameras were flashing or when expensive gifts were involved. Daniel's friends warned him. "She's with you for the money," they said. But he couldn't let himself believe it. He wanted to think she cared. Still, the doubts grew stronger every day. Emma Collins was not someone you would normally notice in Daniel's glittering world. She was the new maid hired for his penthouse, quiet, humble, and hardworking. At just 26, she carried the weight of the world on her shoulders. Emma had grown up in a small town, but life hadn't been kind. Her father had died early. Her mother was ill. And Emma had come to the city seeking work to support her younger siblings back home. She was polite, but reserved. Daniel rarely exchanged more than a few words with her. She kept the apartment spotless, prepared simple meals, and always carried herself with quiet dignity. Unlike others around him, she didn't gush over his wealth or try to impress him. She simply did her job. One evening, as Daniel sat in his study, sipping whiskey, a thought struck him, wild, foolish, and yet strangely compelling. He had seen too many fake smiles, too many shallow friendships. He wanted to know once and for all, was Vanessa truly the one? The only way to find out, he decided, was through a test. The very next week, Daniel staged an accident. During a weekend getaway with Vanessa, he faked a fall down the stairs. Doctors whom he discreetly paid confirmed to Vanessa that Daniel was paralyzed. From the waist down, he would be bound to a wheelchair indefinitely to make the story convincing. Daniel moved into a different wing of his penthouse. He hired physical therapists and even adjusted his schedule to look realistic. He told Vanessa that his fortune was now tied up in medical expenses and company restructuring. In reality, his money was safe, but Vanessa didn't need to know that. Now he would wait and see her reaction. The night Daniel returned from the hospital in a wheelchair, Vanessa arrived at the penthouse in a flurry of perfume and designer heels. "Oh my God, Daniel," she gasped, clutching her handbag dramatically as she laid eyes on him. "I can't believe this happened. How could you not be more careful?" Her tone carried more irritation than sorrow. Daniel, watching carefully, forced a weak smile. "It was an accident, Vanessa. Have to get used to this chair for now? She sighed, clearly disturbed, but instead of kneeling beside him, she walked to the mirror, adjusting her lipstick. Well, we'll manage. You'll have the best doctors. Money can fix anything, right? Daniel looked down, his chest tightening. He wanted her to hug him, to whisper reassurance. Instead, her first concern was appearances. Within a week, the cracks widened. Vanessa started spending more nights with friends, leaving Daniel alone. She posted smiling selfies at luxury dinners while Daniel sat in silence at home. When she was around, she complained about the restrictions. "I can't believe I have to push your chair into restaurants now," she muttered once. Frustrated as a paparazzi camera flashed, Daniel swallowed the sting, reminding himself this was all part of the test. But deep down, it hurt more than he expected. If Vanessa grew distant, Emma grew quietly closer. She was discreet, never intrusive, but her small acts began to stand out. She noticed when Daniel struggled to reach a book from the shelf and placed it gently on his table without a word. She prepared his favorite soup. How she figured it out, he didn't know. She adjusted rugs and furniture so he could move his wheelchair without trouble. One rainy evening, Daniel's frustration boiled over when he couldn't transfer himself from the chair to his bed. His hands slipped and he almost fell. Emma rushed in. "Careful, sir," she said, steadying him. "I'm fine." Daniel snapped, ashamed of his helplessness. But Emma didn't flinch. She simply helped him sit safely, her voice soft. "It's okay to ask for help sometimes. Even the strongest people need it." For the first time, Daniel looked into her eyes. They weren't filled with pity, but with quiet strength. That night, for reasons he couldn't explain, he slept better than he had in weeks. 2 months into the charade, Daniel dropped another piece of bait. Over dinner, he casually mentioned Vanessa. "With all the medical bills and company challenges, I may need to sell the vacation house." Her fork froze mid-air. "What? Sell the Hamptons house?" "Daniel, that's where all our summer events are." He nodded slowly. It might be the only way. The look on her face said everything. She didn't ask about his health. She didn't worry about his recovery. She worried only about losing the glitter of wealth. By the end of the week, Vanessa stopped visiting altogether. Her texts became excuses. Her calls became rare. And then, one day, Daniel's phone buzzed with a short, heartless message. "I can't do this anymore. You've changed. I need someone who can keep up with my lifestyle. Goodbye." Daniel sat in silence, his phone slipping from his hand. He had expected this. But the confirmation crushed him nonetheless. The night Vanessa left, Emma found Daniel in the darkened living room, a half-finished glass of wine beside him. His eyes were hollow, his shoulders slumped. "Are you all right, sir?" she asked softly. He forced a laugh. "My girlfriend just left me. I guess I should be heartbroken, but maybe I'm just relieved." Emma hesitated, then stepped closer. "Sometimes people leave because they were never meant to stay. It's painful, but it also makes room for the right ones." Her words lingered long after she left the room. Daniel stared at the ceiling, realizing that the quiet maid who asked for nothing somehow gave him the comfort he had craved all along.